Sports Talk. This is another NBA edition, and in this NBA edition, we are going to be talking about the Brooklyn Nets and will they be a dark horse next season. And for those who are unfamiliar because you haven't seen him play basketball in about a year, Kevin Durant will come back and play for the Brooklyn Nets next season. So now I was kind of trying to figure out like how baseball and hockey and all of the other sports have what they refer to as WAR, which is wins against replacement. So in the NBA, it's slightly different where the number is a little bit different. They call it a WARP. So they basically take the average of 4 replacement players, points, minutes, assists, and they factor all of that stuff in to see how valuable a player is. So the Brooklyn Nets this particular season went 35-37. They were 2 games under 500, and we know that the season was shortened. That's where they were. And of course, they were the 7th seed, and they ended up just getting swept out of the playoffs by the Toronto Raptors, who were the 2 seed. So now, just looking at the current NBA WARP leaders, of course, number 1 is going to be LeBron James. And I wouldn't have thought that he'd be number 1, but he's been a great and dominant player for a very long time. So his value over replacement player is 133.66. He's ahead of Michael Jordan at 116.08. And now, granted, we don't want to really go through this whole list, but of active players, there's only 3 active players in the top 20 on this list. And of the 3 active players, obviously, they can't be in the Hall of Fame. Everyone else on this list in this top 20 is in the Hall of Fame. So right now, the 3 guys who are active, who are the leaders, are LeBron James, who's number 1 at values above replacement. Number 7 is Chris Paul at 85.98 wins against replacement. And then number 19 is Kevin Durant at 69.01. Now, granted, had Durant played this season, his value probably would have risen a little bit more, but because of the lack of the season, I'm sure that has something to do with his numbers. Trying to figure out how this actually translates to wins is going to be a little bit difficult. But let's just say, hypothetically speaking, if you took half of that number and said that Kevin Durant is the reason why the Brooklyn Nets will win 30 more games than they did this particular season. So now you took a team that went from being 500 to a team that's winning 60 games, which isn't impossible, especially in the NBA and especially with how weak the Eastern Conference is. Could the Brooklyn Nets go 60-22 next season and go 1st or 2nd in the East? It is completely plausible, and even if you didn't want to go that high, let's just say that this number can be divided into 3. So he's at 69.01, so call it 70. So a third of 70 is roughly 23. So let's just say that he adds another 23 wins to what the Brooklyn Nets had this season. So they win 35-37. They go 58-24. So pretty close to the 60 wins anyway. I think with Kevin Durant next season, the Brooklyn Nets will end up being one of the favorites in the East to win the Eastern Conference, along with the Milwaukee Bucks and the Boston Celtics, the Toronto Raptors. That's going to be one of the interesting ones to see how the Raptors do this season, because they're going to have a whole bunch of free agents coming up next year. I think the Nets are going to be like a top 3 team next season. I think that they're going to be something to watch out for, especially being that Kevin Durant is actually this valuable. And without having him, they basically went 500. So just adding him, and you can add another 20 wins to your season, is going to be something that's going to be basically unheard of. Do you think the Nets will win 50-plus games next season? Do you think they win 60 games with Kevin Durant? I think that that's possible. I think that they probably win somewhere around 55 games next year. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. Follow me on Instagram at Raw Sports Talk. Follow me on Twitter at Raw Sports Talk 1. I'll catch you guys in the next episode. I'm out.
Ooh, baby, I like it raw.